In 480 BC, the world's largest empire marched west. Led by Xerxes, the god king of Persia, an army of over 1 million men crossed into Greece, demanding submission. City after city fell or bowed. But one king, Leonidas of Sparta, stood defiant. When others debated, he chose action. With only 300 elite warriors at his side, he marched north to a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. Their goal wasn't victory, it was resistance. The pass would level the battlefield, allowing the few to stand against the many. The fate of Greece, its freedom, its future, now rested on the shoulders of 300 men. As Persian banners darkened the horizon, Leonidas prepared not for conquest, but for legend. The fire was lit, a storm was coming, and at its heart stood Sparta, unflinching and ready. In Sparta, boys were shaped into weapons. At age 7, they entered the Agoge, a brutal regime of discipline, combat, and survival. Weakness was eliminated. Strength was honored. Leonidas had endured this crucible himself, forged by the same trials as every warrior he would lead. When the Persian threat loomed, he didn't summon an army. He chose 300 men, each with a living son, so their bloodlines could endure. These weren't bodyguards. They were a brotherhood of death. As they marched to Thermopylae, they were joined by allies, Thespians, Thebans, and others, but none carried the weight of fate like the 300. Every step forward was a step away from home, and none expected to return. They were not chosen to live. They were chosen to hold the line, defy a god, and become immortal in the memory of all free men. Thermopylae, the hot gates, was the perfect battlefield, a narrow strip of land between mountain and sea. Here, the Persian numbers meant nothing. Here, discipline and terrain would rule. Xerxes sent envoys demanding surrender. Leonidas answered with 2 words, Molenle, come and take them. Then the Persians attacked. Wave after wave crashed against the Spartan phalanx, an impenetrable wall of bronze and muscle. Shields overlapped, spears thrust with deadly rhythm. The Persians had numbers. The Spartans had precision. Day 1 ended in slaughter. By nightfall, the narrow pass was piled high with the bodies of invaders. Xerxes watched in disbelief. His army humbled by hundreds, but he had more men, more days, and still believed the will of Sparta would eventually break. Day 2. Xerxes unleashed his most feared warriors, the Immortals. 10,000 elite soldiers, said to be invincible. But against Spartans, even myth bled. The phalanx held. The Immortals were cut down like any other men. Spartans fought as one. No gaps, no fear. When arrows blackened the sky, a soldier laughed. Then we'll fight in the shade. That day, humor met horror. The pass became a killing ground. Persians died by the hundreds. Spears cracked, swords shattered, but still the Spartans stood. Xerxes' fury grew. His pride was wounded, and with force failing, he turned to guile. Somewhere in the mountains, betrayal stirred, and it would soon change everything. His name was Ephialtes, a deformed Greek outcast. Rejected by Leonidas for his inability to fight in formation, he turned traitor. For gold and promise of reward, he revealed a hidden goat path through the mountains, one that bypassed the hot gates. Now the Spartans would be surrounded. Leonidas knew the cost. He dismissed the majority of the Greek forces, telling them to return home and prepare. Only the 300 Spartans, 700 Thespians, and a handful of loyal allies stayed behind. They weren't retreating. They were choosing to make their stand. With death now certain, they prayed, embraced, and readied themselves. They would hold the line to the last man, not out of madness, but out of duty, and the understanding that sometimes one act of sacrifice can echo louder than 1,000 victories. As dawn broke on the 3rd day, the Persians attacked from both sides. The Spartans, outnumbered and encircled, didn't falter. They charged into death with the roar of lions. Leonidas led the final assault, spear in hand, blood on his blade. He cut through wave after wave until he fell, pierced by a dozen spears. But even in death, his men defended him. Forming a wall around his body, they fought with shattered blades, fists, even teeth. One by one, they fell, but none turned their back. By midday, the last Spartan stood alone, and then he too was gone. Xerxes had taken the pass, but lost something far greater, because from their sacrifice, a fire was lit. The Persians claimed the battlefield, but the Spartans claimed eternity. Thermopylae was not a victory, but it was never meant to be. The 300 Spartans, joined by brave allies, gave their lives to delay an empire. And it worked. Their stand bought precious time. Later that year, at Salamis and Plataea, the Greeks defeated the Persians and preserved their freedom. Leonidas became a symbol, not of power, but of principle. His name endures as a reminder that courage can defy conquest and sacrifice can outlive empires. To this day, people travel to Thermopylae to stand where they stood, to remember that even when defeat is certain, resistance has meaning. Like, comment, and subscribe to Timeless Legend for more epic stories. Share this video and carry the spirit of the 300.